And this chart shows clearly the discrepancies in trust in newspapers and in the internet as news media among different generations. More and more younger people regard the internet as an indispensable news source, whereas for older people, it's the other way around. Now, talking about the television programs, particularly those which are broadcast by NHK and the 5 Tokyo-based key networks, have been widely watched by people too. The average TV viewing hours of the Japanese people amounts to as much as 3 hours and 46 minutes. This compares with 3 hours in 1985. The increase, about 46 minutes, however, accounts for the growth in the viewing time of commercial television and not NHK. So NHK has been struggling to define itself as a national channel. A 2010 NHK survey found that roughly 60% of Japanese teenagers today have virtually no weekly contact with NHK. But the amount of time to watch NHK rose sharply with age. NHK has become a media service that is more oriented toward senior citizens. Therefore, there are grave concerns within the network that if this trend continues unchecked, eventually no one will be watching it at all. Recently, news values in Japan are said to have become domestic and inward-looking in the arena of Japanese media. In my opinion, this trend takes place exactly at the juncture of such declining reader and viewership on the one hand, and the efforts to redefine Japan and reinforce its nationalism in the face of slow economic growth in the past decades on the other. In post-war Japan, it surely has been the major newspapers and TV stations that gave the Japanese people a broad sense of community of what it is to be a Japanese in various ways. To some, it was a liberal creed of pacifism that dominated in the popular sentiment during the 60s and 70s. Others enjoyed the perception of Japan as number one during the bubble economy of the 80s. And these images were created and augmented mostly by the Japanese corporate media, which grew and expanded in every facet of our lives. However, in the face of proliferation of the internet as well as globalization, conventional media, such as newspapers and broadcasting, which are defined according to the national boundaries, are forced to redefine their role as information media. Many young people turn their back to these conventional media and prefer the internet that supports their much diversified and individual lives and identities.